And so far, a number of players have come out and declared interest in the position. Um, so, Nairobi County, as you know, is divided into 17 constituencies, and those constituencies are further divided into 85 wards. So, since the advent of revolution, Nairobi has been unfortunate enough to have so many governors, but more than the number of election cycles because of impeachment. As you know, Sonko was impeached and replaced by a guy called Mutura, who was the speaker at the time. Then, of course, Mutura was later replaced by Kanan, who managed to complete Sonko's term. Before Sonko, there was Kidero. Then, of course, after Kanan, there was an election that brought Sakate to office. So we've had the number more governors than the number of elections we've had since the advent of revolution. So the total number of registered voters in Nairobi County is 2.45 million. Um, and it is one of the counties with the largest number of both registered voters and the number of people who reside here. And it's bordered by Kiambu. There is Kajiado somewhere here. Then we have Machakos, and all of them supply residents. Some of them do business, and then they go back to their counties, and some of them are semi-permanent and permanent residents. As you know, it's the commercial, political, and administrative capital of the county. So there's a lot of interest as far as leadership is concerned. So since the election of 2022, which of course brought Sakate to office, so much has happened. We've had two attempts, of course, at impeachment by MCAs who feel like the governor is not able to do what he's supposed to do. And recently, he signed an agreement with the national government, which he calls cooperation, but to most Kenyans, it was a takeover of the county government by the national government. The same way, the retired president Uhuru Kenyatta took over the county through an MS from Sonko. So Nairobians feel the governors let them down by giving the county to the national government, and that is how we lose accountability. Money is stolen and we don't know who to blame. For example, the amount of money which was lost during the time of NMS lacks accountability. We don't know whether to blame the retired president or Governor Sonko who signed away the county to the national government. So a number of guys have come out and expressed interest in the position of governor, led by the current Embakasi's Member of Parliament, Babu Owino. We have Nairobi businesswoman AGNESS Kagure. We have the current Member of Parliament for Embakasi Central or North, called Bakuya James. We have Irungu Nyakera, who contested for the governor's position in Murang'a County last election and got 109 votes. And then we have, sounds funny, it feels like Nairobians can trust him if Murang'a guys would not. So we have other candidates. We have a guy called Bangula Musili, a former MCA for Pipeline Ward. And then we have, of course, the current governor, Johnson Sikaja, who also intends to defend his position. Then we have the current Member of Parliament for Kasarani constituency called Ronald Karauri. He has also come out and declared interest in the position, and I think intends to seek that position using the UDA tickets, which means there will be a nomination in the UDA so as to determine the best candidate to run against the opposition candidate. Nairobi, the best organizing factor for Kenyan politics is tribe. We go to elections, and 90% of Kenyans vote based on tribe. For example, if I'm a Kisii, and I feel like my kingpin Matiang'i is leaning towards the opposition, I'll vote for a candidate who's presented to me by the opposition. If Kipyegon, I'll definitely try to vote for a candidate who's presented or given to me by President William Ruto. That is how we vote. Sometimes we pretend we don't do that, but most of the time, 90% of the time, that is what we do. So we have the government, which is of course UDA, and then we have the opposition, led by Musyoka. There's Matiang'i there. We have Natembea, the governor of Trans Nzoia County. We have Sifuna, Babu, we have Justin Muturi, former speaker, we have Rigiji Mwenyewe. So all these guys have come together and they're likely to present a candidate for Nairobi governor. And when you do the math, you can see who will be the underdog in the contest. If you add the Mount Kenya numbers, Kisii numbers, Kamba numbers, and these guys come together, they'll definitely decide who becomes the next governor of this county. So the government side, that is UDA, gets into the contest on the side of the underdog in terms of numbers. So I know wherever the president is, he knows Nairobi County is gone. That is if the opposition remains together as we approach the 2027 general election. So this particular study was carried out between the 25th of February and the 1st of March, and we sampled 6,000 registered voters in the county. The margin of error is plus or minus 1.97, and the confidence levels are at 97%. So it's a survey you can use for decision making. In terms of distribution, based on gender, 51% women, 49% men. There was also, of course, consideration in terms of age and education. 18 to 20 years, 16%, 34% for 29 to 30 years, and then 28% for 39 to 40 years, and then 49 and above, 22%. The reason as to why there is a higher concentration of the people between 18 years and 48 years is a reflection of the youthfulness of our population. 75% of Kenyans are below 50 years. So anytime you do a survey, it has to capture or reflect the nature of the demographic character of our people. Now, we wanted to find out how popular the governor is and the number of Nairobians who feel whether or not he's doing his job well. So we asked Nairobians, are you satisfied with the kind of work that's being done by Governor Sakaja? So 8% said yes, 82% said no, and then 10% did not have an opinion. So 82% of Nairobians don't feel that the governor is doing what he should be doing to represent their interests as Nairobians. So I think that is a reflection of the noise, the complaints that Nairobians have always had ever since Sakaja came to office. And we are not doing this polling for the first time. We've done it time and time again, and the numbers are more or less the same. So there's a problem. The next question, of course, we wanted to find out if you're not satisfied with Sakaja's work, and we are approaching 2027, who is the best person to replace him as governor? So, out of 6,000 people, 1% settled on the current member of parliament for vacancies, that is Babu. They said that is the best person to replace Sakaja's governor. 30% settled on Kagure, 24% settled on Dennis Wawelu. This gentleman was the former member of parliament for the West South constituency, and at some point he was identified and appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta to spearhead the failed BBI. 5% picked Sakaja, which is weird because when the number of people who are satisfied with his work feel that he should not be re-elected. 3% James Gakuya, then Gabriel Munyakera, Ronald Karauri, getting 1%, and then 4% are undecided. So, and it's a reflection of how we decide as Kenyans. As early as now, a good number of Kenyans have made up their minds that this is the direction. So what will happen as we move forward, and then maybe the opposition pick a single candidate to face one candidate from the government side, most of these guys will just move to one side, depending on where the king is there. For example, the guys who support Dennis Wawelu and Gakuya will definitely go to one side, assuming Dennis will